Welcome to my channel. This is Fighting Back, Exposing CPS Corruption, where I show you my own personal experiences and the facts of my, quote, case from Florida Department of Children and Families, where they illegally seized my children without proper authorization or probable cause or anything like that. So this is going to be the third video, and we're going to go over my experience with the Guardian Ad Litem program. In some states, I believe it's called like a CASA. It's basically an advocate for your child once they have taken them illegally or declared them dependent, once they have jurisdiction, or so they say, over your children. Okay, Guardian Ad Litem. This is what the definition is. It says the gal, Guardian Ad Litem, is not the child's attorney, though sometimes works alongside one. Rather, the gal advocates for what's best for the child, not just what the child wants. Investigates the child's situation, monitors their well-being and progress, makes independent recommendations to the court, advocates for services stability and permanency, ensures the child's voice is heard in all court proceedings. Okay. The statewide program is authorized under Florida Statutes Chapter 39, overseen by the statewide Guardian Ad Litem office, part of the Florida Departments of Children and Families DCF system. So they get paid by the same people. They work for the Department of Children and Families. So how impartial do you think they're? Okay, so my experience, when I first started going through this, the sadistic CPS officer that started our case on a bunch of bullshit and was knowingly lying and forging documents and doing all sorts of just illegal and immoral and just literally sadistic things. She put on our documents, our fraudulent documents that she passed off as legal somehow, that we had to have supervised visitation, although there was no such reason for her to do this. There was no reason for any of this, but we've gotten into that in other videos, and we will in the future, I'm sure. But this is how they are supposed to, by law, decide if there needs to be supervised visitation with the parents. Okay. Supervised visitation or monitoring may be ordered when one or more of these factors are present. There is a concern that the child's life, health, or safety would be at risk if unsupervised contact were permitted. The parent or caregiver has issues such as substance abuse, domestic violence, mental health concerns, or a history of neglect or abuse. This is supported by practice guidance, though not always in explicit statute. The court and/or DCF determines that the least intrusive means to ensure child safety is supervision of contact rather than complete restriction. Now, not only did they not have anything close to these, but they have to document and have an actual reason with some kind of evidence backing it for that reason. And it's supposed to be documented in the case. Of course it wasn't, because our whole case was bullshit. Okay, so the first time that I went to court, or one of the first times, I asked the judge about unsupervised visitation because, one, they had no reason to fucking take the children. Two, they had no reason to make our visits have to be supervised. And the whole thing was shenanigans. So the judge granted his joint discretion with Guardian Ad Litem and CM, which would be the case manager. Okay. So if they agreed, then that was fine with the judge. That's what was said. So I was very adamant about being in contact with this Guardian Ad Litem. Okay. When I talked to the lady, I told her my story. I told her what had happened. I told her everything about me. And she said, and I quote, "Oh, there must have been some kind of mistake. I'll look into it for you." Like, genuinely, this was a volunteer. So she really actually was there to try and help the children. Do you know what I'm saying? She's not one of the ones that was trying to sell children knowingly. Okay. This person was genuine. She was real, and she thought that she was doing the right thing and she was trying to do her job correctly. Okay. I stayed in contact with her. We went back and forth text messages. She came out to the house. She met me. She saw my whole house, what I do for a living, the whole shebang. And she was like still in the same spot about it. Like, this must have been a misunderstanding. I'm going to talk to whoever her supervisor, whatever the hell they call them. You know what I'm saying? And that was her stance. Then I tried to get in contact with the case manager so we could all get on the same page, right? I tried to get a hold of this lady, sent her long emails, finally got her on the phone, and she said everything sounded fine to her, but she has to talk to her supervisor, which I didn't really know at the time. It's just a tactic for meaning I don't know what else to say, so I'm just going to blame it on somebody else. Her supervisor was a capital C word and was obviously clear on the fact that they were selling people's offspring. You know what I'm saying? So there was a whole bunch of games, and it was ridiculous. Anyways, so then when I tried to contact the guardian ad litem again, the last I heard from her, she text messaged me back after she didn't respond for a little while, and then she text messaged me and said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you." And I was like, I already knew what time it was. I was like, okay, all right, I see where we're at now. There was nothing this person could do. I don't know what she was told when she went to go talk to whoever is over her, but clearly it was like she saw what the truth was and she saw what should have been done, and there was nothing that she could do to help me because it was all bullshit. It was illegal and it was fucked up. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you is the guardian ad litem report that ended in going to the court after I met with this lady, talked to her, and she was like all for me. She was on my team until she wasn't allowed to be anymore. Okay, so the guardian ad litem, the one that was actually trying to do her job, her name was Gina. Okay, this is the report that went into the court after, this fuckery. All right, so basically they just reiterated the bullshit report that they used to open it up with. 75% at least of it is known lies, and the rest of it is kind of tweaked to make it sound the way that they want it to. You know what I'm saying? You see child advocate manager, Courtney, C-word, volunteer, Gina. So that would be her supervisor or whatever, it would be Courtney. So on May 27th, order to take into custody was issued. That's a lie. And children were placed with their maternal aunts following their removal from their mother because father. They have been residing with their paternal aunt, and the aunt works from home, blah, 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 blah. The guardian ad litem volunteer has had regular contact with the relative caregiver. The children have been seen a few times in person. Guardian ad litem volunteer originally had phone contact with the mother, that'd be me, but not recently as her phone number had not been in service. That's a lie. And like I said, the reason that we stopped contacting each other was because the guardian ad litem told me that she couldn't help me anymore. Okay, right. So this page is basically all lies. Multiple prior abuse reports with the family, zero. Concerning patterns for substance abuse and household violence, lie and lie. This dependency removal occurred due to the report of parents using drugs in a hotel room with the children present. Another lie. I blocked out the names. And his possession was arrested. A collateral contact observed the parents both be passed out on the bed with the children. Another lie. All four of us were sleeping because it was nighttime. People sleep at night sometimes, And in 2017, okay, this is 2021, okay, mind you. So that was 4 years prior. That's what they're putting in this report because that's literally all they had. They grasped every little straw and then they put in a whole bunch of lies. 2017, a report was closed, unable to locate after the father was arrested for DUI, child neglect, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he didn't actually get charged with child neglect either. That's a fucking lie. And let's see. The family was not able to be located in this investigation. In 2013, so 8 years before I had even started dating my youngest father, an abuse report alleged that the mother and the father of my older daughter engaged in violent behavior. Okay, actually, he got a domestic on me. Okay, we didn't engage in violent behavior. He was arrested for domestic on me. Okay, I wasn't engaging in violent behavior. Okay. The mother tested positive for cocaine. Never has that happened. Never. That is completely made up. And who would have tested me at that time? You know what I'm saying? The people that arrested my ex who had a domestic violence battery on me? Like, are you kidding? You know what I'm saying? Anyways. And both were intoxicated while fighting. Okay. Also not true. Oh, but I was on cocaine, right? Okay. Impending danger was identified in regard to the father due to the mother being incarcerated for VOP. Okay, so now we were engaging in violent behavior when he got a domestic on me. Also, I tested positive for cocaine, but I was also incarcerated for VOP. Tell me how that's possible. Okay, right. There is a history of being intoxicated and then fighting with the mother. What the fuck does that have to do with me? In 2013, you know what I'm saying? There is a report regarding my daughter's father, the one who I was with when this case started, and a paramour, don't even know their name, in 2014, once again, before we even started dating, where he admitted to drinking nightly. The fuck? Once again, 7 years ago, he was drinking nightly, and that's on our report. Why? And this is all hearsay anyways. Do you know what I'm saying? Even if that were true, it's hearsay. Okay. Which in a normal court of law would be trash. And that's exactly what it is. Okay. The mother and the father have multiple charges for illegal drugs. Also not true. Okay. Children's status and wishes. Children appear to be doing well, blah, blah, blah. attending school regularly. However, the girls were experiencing night terrors in bed. I wonder why. Could it be because they were unjustly ripped out of their parents' arms in a Walmart parking lot after they were illegally detained there for hours and not allowed to go with their grandma because they already had some other setup going where they were benefiting off of it financially, and it was traumatizing? Could be. And then also weren't allowed to see their parents and can only see them 1 hour a week when they literally have not left their side for more than one night since they've been born. I mean, it could be. I mean, I'm no gal employee, but you know what? It's just my personal opinion. Okay, guardian recommends children remain in the relative placement, of course. Okay. The father of my older daughter has consented to an adjudication of dependency, so he is not part of this trial. He did not appear for a court hearing, and then they said, okay, well, your child's dependent. The fuck she is, okay? Anyways, that's consent, they say. Okay, right. He shouldn't even have been involved in the first place. He had nothing to do with any of this, and he wasn't even actively in my daughter's life at that point. You know what I'm saying? Okay. The mother is recommended to complete a substance abuse evaluation following recommendations, successfully complete an age-appropriate parenting course, domestic violence assessment, and follow recommendations. For what? They had no evidence. They had no legal authority. You know what I'm saying? And then same thing with the father, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So now we go to the bottom part. Like I said, Gina was the actual guardian at Litem who had met me. I don't even know who this other hoe is, okay? I never met her. She never met me. We've never spoken. She knows nothing about me. Everything that she put in there was a lie. So now I don't like her, but that's all I know, you know? Okay, so if you see it has the electronic signature, that S/, and then her name is Courtney, and then her name for Gina, who is the guardian at Litem. First of all, you can't even fucking do that, okay? You can't electronically sign for somebody else. The fuck are you even talking about? Okay, and then below that, you'll see her actual, again, the S, Courtney, and then her actual name, Child Advocacy Manager, because that's who she actually is. She's not Gina, so she can't sign for Gina. But she did. Why? Because she is a human you-know-whatter, okay? So that's just yet another example of how these court systems work and how they all work together to literally screw you out of your constitutional rights, your children, your life, basically. And that is not just in Florida. Okay, like I said, in other states, I believe it's called a CASA. It's an advocate for your children once they have them in their quote jurisdiction. But really, it's just another branch of the same government entity, which is trafficking. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what it is. They don't actually help. They are there to make you look bad and try to screw you over in court while smiling like the demons that they are, okay? And that doesn't mean that every single employee that works for these companies is what I just described. Most of them, absolutely. Like I've said previously, if they work for these companies for more than, I would say 6 months, definitely more than a year, I mean, there's no way they don't know what's going on. There's no way. Maybe some of these people still believe they can help. I really don't know, or whatever the case is. So of course there's an exception to every rule, but for the most part, if they work for this entity, they know exactly what the fuck they're doing, and they know that it's wrong, and they don't care because they have no empathy, and children are a paycheck to them, okay? These people are there to screw you. They will use everything that you say against you. They will use your past against you. They will make shit up. They will lie repetitively, and you are the bad guy here, so it doesn't really matter what you say, and they don't listen to you anyways. It's a nightmare. It's a freaking nightmare. If you've been through it, you know. But I'm going to end this one here. And on the next one, we're going to go into my motions that I did. Motion to strike, motion to dismiss, which were absolutely on point because I spent a lot of time on them and they didn't get read. And then they just got denied for frivolous reasons that were not legal and made no actual sense.